So let's dive into the next reset. This is the stress mindset reset. It is really a practice to change our mindset over time, because changing a mindset is not kind of like a one moment thing. It is retraining our neural networks into a different view. And as a scientist and an instructor and practitioner of mind-body medicine, understanding the latest science about stress and educating people about that and developing ways to address stress really is one of my favorite topics. Um, because if you can unlock and shift how you relate to your daily stresses, that is one of the easiest ways to heal yourself at any level. Okay, it's going to improve your mental outlook, your emotional state. You're going to sleep better. Your cardiovascular system isn't going to be stressed. Your hormones are going to rebalance. Your brain is going to be happier, and your inflammation is going to calm down. And if you do all of that, those are miracles of healing. And just looking at the angle of stress and shifting our relationship with stress is the easiest way to understand how these resets that you're learning work, and really how the whole body intuitive mind body medicine system really powerfully impacts our health. So that is my why stress is amazing. A little segue in. But when it comes to stressful things in our life, we are in charge. We have a choice here. There are three identified physiological stress responses: threat stress, which is fight or flight, freeze and faint, many different versions of that. The tend and befriend stress response, where we work together with others to solve stressful things in our life. And the challenge response, which is a state of peak performance where we're inspired, we're enthusiastic, we're excited, we're energized. We gain a sense of, I think I can do this. Okay. When we're in these different states, we have different chemicals running through our nervous system and through our bodies. They're really distinct states that are correlated with these mindsets. Okay. And the fourth option is we can get into that amazing healing parasympathetic relaxation state. So the intent of this reset is to empower you with a simple way to retrain your mindset out of threat stress into one of these three other possibilities: challenge, tend to befriend, or relaxation. There's going to be 3 points of focus here. You're going to be tuning into a specific stressor, the big picture issue behind that, as you get yourself out of this ancient, hardwired fight or flight threat physiology and reclaim a new view, a new mindset. Before we dive in and learn the reset, I'm going to bring up my amazing colleagues, Dr. Britt and Dr. Kate, just to have a discussion about their amazing research that is starting to give some great data that these resets work. And they have both had a focus on the stress mindset reset. So we are going to all come on here. And Kate, are you up? I can't see you. And there you are. All right. So I'm going to introduce them both. I have known them both for many years as friends, as colleagues. I have coached and trained them both in Body Intuitive and in the advanced science classes that I develop. Over the past several years, they have both completed a PhD in natural medicine from Quantum University. And Britt has been in mind-body medicine for 18 years as a practitioner and an instructor, and she is one of our amazing master practitioners in Body Intuitive. She has had a focus in outreach and volunteer work, teaching in Africa, working with refugees and young people. And she's going to start off by telling us all about her research, looking at the impact of practicing of 3 weeks of a combo of 2 resets, the stress mindset and the earth element reset that you learned yesterday. Then Dr. Kate is going to come on. She has been in mind-body medicine for 13 years and just got certified as an advanced body intuitive practitioner. And she looked at the impact of one time practicing the stress mindset reset for a single time. And both of their results are great. And I think they really combine nicely. So I'm going to turn it over to Britt first to dive in.
Thank you very much, Laura, and thank you for the opportunity to share about one of my great passions. So I have been using the stress mindset reset since Laura developed it, really from the get-go. And also, of course, the other elemental resets. I use them for myself. I've taught them in various settings, and I also teach them and work with my clients, particularly with the stress mindset reset. That has always been very dear to me. And I spend a lot of time speaking with my clients about the importance of the mindset that they have around stress. And through all of that, I've seen how well it works. It really, really works. I have many anecdotal stories, and I was curious to see what would happen if you put this to the test of quantitative research method. So for my PhD dissertation, the aim for my study was to evaluate whether elemental reset self-care is effective in reducing stress levels and stress-related symptoms in adults. So that was what I set out to do. I divided people into 2 groups randomly. One control group, which they were asked to be still for 6 minutes a day. And the reset group, the active group, were asked to perform the stress mindset reset, followed by the earth element reset on themselves every day. And I provided an audio guide for them for that. So I started out with about almost 60 people. And then life happened, and I was pleased to be able to come out of this study of taking people through 3 weeks. There's a lot of things that can happen. People stop responding, and they sort of fell off, and some people went on holiday for 2 of the 3 weeks, so I couldn't really use their response. Lots of things in life happened. But I got down to 30 participants, divided into 10 people in the control group and 20 people in the reset group. So just bearing in mind that these numbers are quite small still when we look at the results. And the type of assessment was to take them through 20 questions on a questionnaire at sign up before they started the 3 weeks, after week 1, after week 2, and after week 3. And after the final third week, I also gave them 6 qualitative questions to go with. And the reason that there is a picture of a tomato plant on this slide, I have a story. So we'll see, Laura, if we get to, if we have time for that story at the end. We'll save it for now. So I was very pleased to get a data set with statistical significance, which basically means that the data set was solid, despite the modest scale of it. And if we look at the very overall picture here, we have the 4 measurements along the horizontal line there. And then the full line is the top line is the reset group, and then the control group is over there. So what we can see is that there is an improvement in both groups. And that's not surprising, because being still for 6 minutes a day is by no means a passive thing. And that's also one of the learnings in this. Having said that, there was a significant greater improvement, as you can see, in the reset group. So there was a 27% improvement in the reset group versus a 17% improvement for the control group. So the overall question is that, yes, there is an effect. And there was also an effect, a positive effect for the 6 qualitative questions. So as I said, I gave them 5 times a questionnaire, 2 questionnaires of 10 questions each. I used standard and widely used questionnaires. One is about perceived stress, and the other one is about general health. So that also has pain levels and how well are you able to walk upstairs, and how happy are you with your social life, as well as stress and mental health is part of that. And once that I had the data set, another question that was interesting for me to ask is, where did we see, in what type of questions did we see the biggest improvement? And that was very, very clear. The biggest improvement was in the area of stress and mental health. And then there was less of a big difference between the 2 groups in the physical health and the social competencies type of questions. So the 6 questions, sorry, that I gave them afterwards was anything else you'd like to share? How has it been for you for this daily practice? How did it make you feel straight after? Do you think there's been an effect on your stress levels? Do you think there's been an effect on anything else? And would you like to continue after these 3 weeks? So those were the 6 questions I gave them. And if we boil that down, there was also here in the qualitative aspect of the study a greater improvement in the reset group versus the control group. There was more mention of other positive effects. The person said that his sex life with his wife was better after these 3 weeks. Several people mentioned confidence, and then reduced comfort eating, improved sleep. There were more than one person said that. Also improved mental clarity and improvement in close relationships. There was also a more like a difference in how they reported that they felt straight after the practice. So one of the reasons that the stress mindset reset is worth studying is because it has a huge potential for scale, because it is self-care. So it's like under the principle of teach a man to fish. You're not tied to pay by the hour of practitioners, that you put your health in your own hands, and you're really empowered about your own health. So it means that it's scalable, which was important for me in choosing a topic. A second reason that I wanted to spend a couple of years looking at this was because it's really based on such amazing new research on mindset that Laura has introduced us to. It's different and fresh, and it just really breaks away from this very simplified idea that stress is harmful, because stress is here to stay. So we might as well make it our friend, and that's really what this is about. That's why I wanted to study it. And the third aspect is that I wanted to see if it's realistic. Is this realistic for people to carry on with? And you can see with these two pie charts that that is a very clear, it's the reset group is to the left, and the right is the control group. And you can see the big light colored one is the yes, we'd like to continue. And you can, really see the difference here. So we have a scalable, realistic self-care that works, really.
Thank you so much for sharing, Britt. It's great to hear about your findings, and we're going to turn it over to Kate now to share her study results.
Great, thank you. Well, I've always been fascinated. We can go to the next slide. I've always been fascinated by the body's ability to heal, which led me to focus my dissertation on stress as well, a factor that's involved in nearly all forms of disease. We know that healing is most effective when our nervous system is in a parasympathetic state, relaxed state, rather than the stressed sympathetic state. So my goal was to evaluate the effectiveness of the SMR, as I'm going to call it, stress mindset reset technique, in reducing stress. How well does it take us from the left side of your screen, the sympathetic stress responses, to the right side of your screen, the parasympathetic feeling state? So, and is that better than just breathing, focusing on our breath alone, right? Is it better than vegging out in front of the TV? So go to the next slide. So I designed a randomized control trial. The interventions were video format, with the techniques being a follow along. So there was no blinding. You knew which group you were in when you got the video. The reset was 6 minutes long. The breathing was 3 minutes from calm. So it was an inhale for 3, hold for 2, exhale for 5, hold for 2. The control video was a 3-minute clip of a non-emotional documentary of how crayons are made, actually. I got 87 viable entries from 82 adult participants. So yes, they could enter more than once. I did a couple of assessments before and after. I could not find a validated assessment focusing on the feeling states of acute stress. So I based it off of the Spielberger state part of the anxiety inventory and the functionality of the PROMIS perceived stress scale. I created 8 I feel statements, like I feel anxious or I feel peaceful, 4 sympathetic and 4 parasympathetic, and participants rated themselves from 0, not at all, to 9, extremely. And then I also added a qualitative comparison on the after. So in the next slide, you'll see some of the findings. So quantitatively, so if we take those 8 questions from 0 to 9, we'll get a total stress score of somewhere between 0 and 72. 72 being super, super stressed. And what you'll see in the first bar chart is basically the average of the stress reduction. How much did the whole group come down on average? And the stress mindset reset did a wonderful job coming down at, I think it was over 18 points, especially compared to the control at, I think it was 4.5 points. So you'll see that it really did a wonderful job. So I'm looking at the difference here and saying, well, I'm wondering if there's statistical difference between these groups. And there was, I ran a test. So I had to run what you see the chart below, the Tukey's HSD, the honestly significant difference, to see which groups there was statistical significance. And it was between the stress mindset reset versus the control. Did not find significance between the other two. But what does statistical significance mean? It basically means we can rule out that this drop in stress was due to chance. And because I had a control group in the design, it's highly unlikely that it was due to the placebo effect either. So it really is the technique itself that's causing the drop in stress scores. So if you go to the next slide, we're going to break down the 8 I feel statements on the left-hand side of your screen. See, I feel anxious, I feel nervous or tense is the way it was asked. 4 sympathetic, 4 parasympathetic. You'll see them broken out. The little I's by the parasympathetic mean that the values were inverted. So therefore, like peaceful, for instance, actually went up 2.1 points on average. This is average per statement. The scale over on the right-hand side, you'll see that the yellow is pretty much no change. Going all the way down to the blues and dark purples are the most change per score. And if you just take a look at the overall picture of the colors, you'll see the stress mindset reset column is just wonderfully dark blue and dark purples, and especially highlighting the change in feelings of overwhelm, irritated and annoyed, and nervous and tense were the biggest, highest scores. So stress mindset reset really demonstrated the greater effectiveness in reducing stress compared to the other two groups. It's absolutely beautiful. So in the next slide, I'm showing the qualitative comparisons. So I asked the participants to compare how they felt after the session relative to how they felt before the session. So there's the key there. So you want to see a lot of yellows here in this chart. Much better, somewhat better. So I put the percentages of what the answers were here. And you'll see that 54%, over 54% said much better in the stress mindset reset, especially compared to the control. You even had some that say they felt worse or much worse. So there was a statistical significance actually between the association between the type of intervention and the comparison ratings that were given. And stress mindset reset really demonstrated, I think, the most improved well-being. And on the next slide, just want to quickly highlight 3 participants. So this is what you're looking at, is 3 different sets of participants that were in fact their own control. So they entered the study. They got the control group, and you'll see by the dark gray to the light gray bars, all 3 participants actually went up in stress by the end of the video. Then they immediately re-entered the study and did the stress mindset reset. So that's the dark pink to the light pink bars. You'll see a huge drop in stress. So this really highlights stress mindset reset's ability to the potential of it to really is a powerful tool for stress management. It offers not only immediate relief, but improved well-being overall. So just fantastic. I would love to see this even more. I want to see more participants doing this and being their own controls. But with that, I'm going to send it back to Dr. Laura for the conclusions.
So I want to thank both Dr. Britt and Dr. Kate for coming on with me today to share their exciting results. They did really different things. The power of Kate's study is she looked at doing the stress mindset reset just once. And the power of Britt's, well, if we just do something once, is it really going to have an impact in 2 weeks? What if we make it into a practice and really engage with it for enough time to have it be part of the routine of our lives? And so the combination of both of these results, to me as a scientist, say, hey, the stress mindset reset, either alone or in combination with the earth element, really does reduce people's sense of perceived stress. It changes your mood or feeling state so that you feel differently. And the positive effects then really reach out into other areas of life, giving us more confidence, better sleep, improving our relationships. You know, this is fantastic. And I really want to highlight something that Britt kept emphasizing to me. Let's consider this. We don't need a healthcare professional involved. We're teaching people to reset themselves, to reset their mindset. And we are seeing really powerful results, even with small studies or looking just once. So obviously we need more research, but I'm excited by the findings so far. And I want to thank you both for joining. If there's anything you want to throw into the mix, or if anyone has a question, happy to answer. Yeah. All right. Well, are we ready to learn the stress mindset reset then? We did all send you the free mini course, so some of you might already know it. I'm going to teach a slightly more advanced version of the reset. So thank you, Britt and Kate, for joining me today. So just to highlight here, since you guys know 3 resets already, this reset is the one of the elemental resets that is not 5-element based, and so there is a different flow. We aren't going to be using acupoints. We will be at the end really activating the reset through our entire energetic system by tapping on those 3 acuzones. And we're going to use this sweeping breath in a different way. We are going to exhale out our emotions that come up relating to our stressor, but we're going to breathe in a new stress mindset. Okay, so our 3 points of focus here are, what am I stressed about? All right, you're going to pick one thing. There might be 30 things on your what you're stressed about list. I say go for your top stressor. What is keeping you awake at night? And then we're going to step out and ask ourselves, big picture, what is this about for me? Why am I stressed about this? And I'm going to give you an example here so you know how to answer that second question. We're going to use the sweeping breath then in 3 sweeps. We are going to release whatever emotions come up for us around our stressor. Then we're going to breathe in a new stress mindset with that inhale. Okay, let's get into what's stressing you. So we have personal stressors, family, relationships, money, work, being disconnected. Many of us are really not living our pre-pandemic lives. Many of us have health issues, or friends and family members with health issues that weigh on us. And if you have a stress-free life, great. There's many things to worry about in the world. I don't think I need to say anything more there. Then we're going to step out and we're going to ask ourselves, why are we stressed about whatever stressor we choose? Because if we're stressed about something, it means something that is important to you is at stake. One of your values, something that is essential to you, is being challenged. So let's dive into these questions. I'm going to give you an example. We're going to look at the example of this little girl, and then I'm going to give you an example of my top stressors. Okay, so here she's studying for an exam. She's stressed about it. She's got a test tomorrow. But why is she stressed? It is the test, But big picture, why does the test matter? Because it's important for her to do well in school. She knows what she wants to be when she grows up. She wants to be an engineer. And you don't get into a good college and into an engineering program and graduate and become an engineer if you don't do well on your tests. So that is the big picture issue. So for myself, if I just consider what are the big picture issues for me, one of the big picture issues for me is my stressor is always, it's like the course I'm developing. I want it to be, is it going to be good enough? Are people going to be fascinated by brain networks as I am? Am I going to be able to share this information in a way they can understand? Am I going to be ready when the class starts in a month? That's what I'm lying awake stressing about at night. Okay. But big picture, why does it matter? What is my big picture issue? I'm passionate about mind-body medicine and science-based, basically bringing science back into medicine, putting the mind back in the body, showing that you can use the latest research to make a difference in people's health tomorrow. And I want everybody to know about it. So that is my big picture issue. Okay. So that is my share here. I'm going to give everyone a chance to share in a minute. Okay. So the why here, why am I stressed? Why does that matter? Okay. Well, science shows us that if we step back and say, what's the big picture here? Why am I stressed about this? Your brain activity shifts out of your amygdala and your brainstem up into your prefrontal cortex, your smart brain. It goes down into your neural network in your heart brain. So you actually, you change the brain networks that are active. That right there is a really key mindset enabling shift. Okay. While we do the what and why, we're going to hold the areas of the brain that are involved in this shift. We're going to hold the back of the brain where your brainstem is. That's really one of the initiators of the sympathetic response. And we're going to hold our smart brain, our prefrontal cortex, our forehead. So this is going to be the first hold. Now, we are going to do the sweeping breath. So this is our power tool in this reset. We don't want to get dizzy and do it so many times. So we are going to use our principle of 3. We are going to do 3 sweeps to release whatever emotions come up for us around our stressor. Let's consider that little girl studying for her test. She's worried. Okay, so she's going to do 3 sweeps to release that worry. Okay, when we do the emotional sweeping part of this reset, we put our hands on the neural network in our heart brain. Okay, this automatically calms all those sympathetic brain centers, those threat stress brain centers. Okay. We're going to use the inhale on the reset now. We're going to do 3 sweeps, same thing, right to left, but on the inhale, we're going to get out of a sense of, I don't think I can do this. This feels impossible. I'm so frustrated. I feel like I'm just doing the same thing again and again. I'm not making any progress. I'm afraid. Whatever our threat mindset is, and our threat emotions, we're going to shift them by tuning into, you can just choose a sense of possibility. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, but I'm just going to imagine possibilities opening up. And you can just breathe back in a sense of possibility. Okay. But I'm going to give you a few options here. Some of you might have already done this reset. So this is where we all get out our pen, piece of paper, and this is our little kind of questionnaire before we dive in. I'm going to invite you to write this down, and if you'd like to chat in and tell us what your top stressor is, you're going to pick one. And if you want to tune out, why are you stressed about that? What is your big picture issue? And what emotions come up for you around your stressor? Okay, so I'm just gonna model here. So mine is my new course, ready on time, good enough. Okay, I'm chatting it in while you think of what yours are. Okay, there is my share for you. Okay, I'm gonna pause and invite you all to look. You've got a whole set of mindsets to choose from here. You can choose possibility, you can choose inspiration, you can choose something not on this list, but that resonates this, just a sense of ease, trust, a sense of you've got people to help you and we can do it together. So I'm going to invite you all to chat in and share what's up for you here. Anyone want to chat in? Yay! Excellent. Thanks, Amy. Great. Yep, you can reclaim multiple mindsets. Don't feel limited. Great. Thanks, everybody. Anyone else want to chime in? Are you guys ready to start? Okay. If you're ready to start, just give me a raise your hand, thumbs up. Do you do this every time before stress mindset reset? Yeah, this is your intake. You can do it on the fly or you can do it ahead of time. Yeah. But it's easier for me to guide people through it if they've got their stuff. Okay. All right, everyone, let's dive in. Okay. So We've all taken a moment to figure out what's top of our stress list. I'm going to invite you just to shut your eyes. You don't have to read any words. I'm just going to guide you through this. Hold your brainstem at the back of your head and your smart brain, your prefrontal cortex, your forehead. Take a few deep breaths. Bring your focus to that stressor that came up for you. Step out a moment and ask yourself why this is important to you. What's going on here, big picture? Then tune into the emotions coming up. One or more emotions. Let's sweep those away in 3 sweeps. So put your hands down in your heart brain. Start with your head over the right. The focus is on the exhale. 3 exhales to release. Okay, after you've done that release, just pause. I'm going to wait for everyone to catch up here. Now we're going to focus on the inhale. I want you to, start over that right shoulder. I want you to breathe back in that new stress mindset. You're going to do that 3 times. Okay, hands on the back of the head and on the forehead. Let's consider that stressor again. Return to the same stressor, kind of roll it around again. Step out and ask yourself why. Why am I stressed about this? What's the big picture issue that's up for me? Tune into the emotions coming up now. They might be the same or different from the first time you considered your stressor. Put your hands on your heart brain, please. And you're going to do 3 sweeps to exhale out and release those emotions. 1, 2, 'kay, let's pause and consider that new stress mindset that we want to reclaim. Okay, let's breathe it in 3 times. Okay, let's do a 3rd cycle here. Remember, we do everything in 3s. Hands on the brainstem, back of the brain, inviting the shift into the prefrontal cortex, the forehead area. Let's consider the same stressor again. What are you stressed about? Why are you stressed? Big picture. Step out and look at your why. Okay, what emotions are coming up this time? Okay. Let's sweep them away in 3 sweeps. Focusing on the exhale release. Okay, pause. What's the new stress mindset you're going to breathe in? Possibility, trust, inspiration, ease. Okay, let's breathe that in 3 times. Reclaim that. All right, now let's get this activated through our entire energetic system. We're going to activate that whole bathing cap, starting in the forehead, going up to that hub point at the crown, down to the top of the ears, back to the top of the head, and the whole back of the head, activating the brain. Now we're going to tap the heart zone. We tap this midline here because these hub points are on the midline. And then we fan out to include the whole area that brings in more meridians, more points around the heart and lungs. Okay, now we're going to go down and do the navel accuzone. Again, get all those hub points on the midline, the navel, above the navel, below the navel, and then fan out where you activate a whole zone of acupoints. Okay, and after you're done, I just want you to pause and notice. What do you notice in your body? In your mindset, in your mood? If you want to chat in and share a word or two, I'm going to invite you to do that. Great, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the Stress Mindset Reset. Yes, what was my stressor? A lot of people report that they can no longer remember what their stressor was. That is a sign of the magic of this technique.